Hey everybody, what's going on? The Montreal Canadiens finally kicked off their regular season on Wednesday night against their bitter rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a lot to dive into in this video and some key observations to take from the game. But before we do that, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner of this video and subscribe to this channel. The Montreal Canadiens headed into the 2023 campaign against the Toronto Maple Leafs with little to no expectations in terms of where they would be in the standings in the Eastern Conference. I think that makes a lot of sense because this is one of the youngest rosters in the NHL and one that really isn't expected to do much in the Atlantic Division this season. The goal for this year is based around developing the young talent and continuing to see those players grow. And I think we saw a lot of that on Wednesday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs, where you could make a really strong case of the best line on either team on the ice that night was Kirby Dach with Uri Slafkovsky and Alex Newhook. All three of these youthful players for the Montreal Canadiens had different impacts, some on the score sheet and some in other ways. Newhook kicked off his Canadiens tenure with a pair of goals, and both of which were impressive in different ways. He used his skill and speed to drive the net for the first goal, which a lot of credit has to go to Kirby Dach for the zone entry, along with Uri Slafkovsky, showing a very nice skill play and something that we didn't see a whole lot of during his rookie campaign. That's one of the biggest positives you can take away from opening night, was that Uri Slafkovsky was playing a full, well-rounded game. He used his size, he used his skill, he used all of the pieces that made the Montreal Canadiens enamored with him and want to select him first overall in the 2022 NHL draft. So it was nice to see all of that on display in the opening game for the Habs. While Newhook, you saw the speed, you saw the skill, you saw exactly what he can bring to the table. He plays a heavy game even for a smaller forward. He's someone that brings a lot of speed to the table. That's going to be his main calling card, but he just fits so well on this line. He's someone that can play with a lot of different players, but two bigger bodies in Slafkovsky and Dach makes a lot of sense to play with Newhook. And I think this line is going to stick together for a long time with the Montreal Canadiens. Then you look at Kirby Dach. He just did so many good things on Wednesday night. The zone entries are so key to finding success with this Montreal Canadiens team, and Dach is the best on the team at creating those zone entries. So I think it's a very positive thing that he's able to find this early chemistry with two youngsters, and hopefully this line can continue to grow together for the entirety of this season. I thought Caden Gooley on the back end started a little slow, but as the game progressed, he was one of the best skaters on the ice. This is someone whose gap control continues to be elite. His defensive presence on the back end is just second to none on this team. And I think he's someone that the Canadiens are going to be very happy with building their defense around moving forward. There's a lot of promising players on this Canadiens blue line that are youthful, and I think that the big strength of this team moving forward over the coming seasons is going to be that defense, especially after they selected David Reinbacher with the 5th overall pick in the 2023 NHL draft. Although there were a lot of positives for the Montreal Canadiens on opening night, there were some negatives. If you look at that third line that the Montreal Canadiens rolled out there on opening night, which consisted of Sean Monahan, Brendan Gallagher, and Tanner Pearson, there wasn't a lot of positives from that line. If you were looking for the best player there, you'd be looking at Monahan, who was solid but not very good on opening night. I thought that Brendan Gallagher and Sean Monahan, sorry, pardon me, I thought that Brendan Gallagher and Tanner Pearson were the ones that kind of slowed that line down, and it's a little bit concerning because Gallagher still has 4 more years left on his contract, and he just doesn't look to be the same player that we're accustomed to seeing. He's clearly slowed down, and of course injuries are playing a big part in that, but he just doesn't seem to be someone that's going to be a big contributor to this team moving forward. So he's got to be paying that off in the leadership department and teaching the young players how to be a pro at the NHL level, because him and Tanner Pearson both looked like they were skating with a piano on their back in that opener, and that's not a very good sign for what you were expecting to be a veteran shutdown line moving forward. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the Montreal Canadiens opening night performance against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and if you're excited for Connor Bedard's debut against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday Night Hockey Night in Canada. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.